Hello and welcome to Women's World. I'm Geraldine Calabai. In this episode, we feature everyday inspirational women. There are so many of them out there, but tonight we feature 4 women. Our first story is about a woman who has survived bowel cancer and despite the challenges she faced, has gone out of her way to create awareness and help other survivors like herself.
My name is Janet Yaki. I am the founder and the president of PNG Stoma Association. I'm a colorectal cancer survivor, and it's 8 years now that I've passed cancer. I'm living a normal life. I had seen other patients who have the same condition as me, and that's why I wanted to help them. And I founded the PNG Stoma Association.
Okay. Sorry, I forgot to put jelly inside.
I had the symptoms for 15 years, but I was so embarrassed to tell my family members. And because I just couldn't, it was like embarrassing situation. Being an educated woman, I should have gone to seek medical check and all that. But I was so embarrassed. I didn't go for 15 years. By the time it was getting really bad, it was stage 4. And when you go to stage 4, it's a point of no return. So I was a goner. The symptoms that I had, like anybody out there, if they have the symptoms of passing out blood in the urine or the feces, and if they have excruciating pain when they are going to the restroom, and you don't pass out, but you only pass out blood, then you know that there's something terribly wrong. It may not be the colorectal or colon cancer, but it would be advisable that they go and seek medical treatment or checkup from the doctor. I don't have a medical background. I'm only talking through my own experiences. After the doctors discovered that we have bowel cancer or within the digestive system, if the bowel or the large intestine or lower colorectal or rectum cancer, then they remove the diseased part. And then they bring the good part outside just to save them. So they create the stoma outside the stomach wall. They bring the good part of the bowel or intestine outside, and that's where, the patient, we are called ostomates, the ostomates relieve themselves. We do not go and sit on the toilet and use the toilet anymore. The bags, these are called ostomy supplies. They are the ones we use. We attach them over the stoma, and it captures the waste. I went to Taiwan and had my surgery. So when I came back, I thought I was the only one in PNG because I didn't know anything about having a stoma or colon cancer, bowel cancer. I had no idea. But after surgery, I locked myself in the house for 1 whole year because I was too ashamed to get out, not knowing that there were many other people out there suffering. So when I went to the surgical clinic, I asked the doctor, pediatric doctor, if there were any patients with the same condition as me or living with the Oh, he said he's done a lot of surgeries. And as we were talking, there was a little 2-year-old who was brought in by the grandmother for a review. And the grandmother had used a nappy to wrap around the stomach. And that's when I realized, I have lived long enough. God had given me a long life, and I needed to do something because doctor told me that there's 20 plus surgeries that he had done, and they don't have any place to get ostomy supplies. So that's when I started, I founded the association, registered it with the IPA. Previously, there was no, hardly any in PNG. I think the chemist was selling them, but a lot of people didn't know about it. And I think it was quite a little expensive for them to buy. People from the settlement, even working people, couldn't afford. So I went on the internet, I searched, and two ostomy associations, one from England and one from Australia, 2 people. They saw I went to a Meet and Ostomate forum and wrote my story. And that's where one of them, 2 ostomates saw my post. So then they contacted their associations, one in Australia and one in England. So the England one, they sent a whole shipment back in 2014. These ones, they come from Gold Coast. So one of the ostomates, where she goes and collects her supplies from Gold Coast Ostomy Association, went and told them about my story, reading it on Meet and Ostomates. So what she did was, she got what she got. Like, they get 30 of them for 1 month supply. So she tried using just enough so she could send the rest. If she used 10 of them, she would send 20 of them out. And then when she kept going back, they asked her, why are you getting more, like, supplies? So she told them the story, and she said, I'm sending to this lady in PNG. So then they wanted me to go and talk to the association, so I went and talked to the association, and so this Gold Coast Ostomy Association, they took PNG Stoma Association as their project. So, and then I also went and talked to 22 associations all around Australia. They are called Australian Council of Stoma Associations. They asked me to give a talk, and when I did that, all the associations and the ostomates in Australia, when they have surplus, they send it to Gold Coast Ostomy Association. So Gold Coast Ostomy Association packs them in very big boxes, and then they send them out. Some of them are without the bags. Even with the bags, it's the order, because we have no more control. We have no more control. Like you ordinary people, you would feel the urge, the muscles will, tell you, okay, it's time for you to go to the restroom. So you go to the restroom. For us, there's no more control. It's it's constant flow. So we have to change the bag every now and then. That's why the order is another thing, stigma and like humiliation, people, that kind of thing. Traumatized, we are just traumatized. Just me going to the bank and standing in line to do banking, it's very difficult for me. I said, this year I'm going to write to the management of any bank. You know, if they see an ostomate or a disabled person in a wheelchair or mother with a child, I mean, these people should be served first. But we are not. Like just before Christmas, I was standing in a long queue and everybody was, you know, rushing. And somebody bumped into my stomach, sorry. And I went and saw this guy. I said, this is happening. Please, I need a quick service. So he got somebody to help me.
It was a new experience for me too, because I was not aware of this particular type of cancer. But then her story is a story of self-will and determination to live, and that's what carried across.
Welcome back to Women's World as we feature inspirational women in PNG. Our next story is about a woman who was once a nurse but now leads one of the largest NGOs in PNG. She has also had an influential role in HIV and AIDS policies.
My name is Heni Meke. I'm from Yalibu, in Mbungu district in Southern Islands province. And currently I'm the director for Anglicare PNG. And this is my 7th year in the job.
Give us an insight to your career as a nurse and what made you choose that path and how long you've been in the profession.
So I decided to take up nursing. And when I completed nursing, I started working 1 year with the Nazarene Hospital. And then I also got married at the same time. And my husband was in the military in Port Moresby, serving at the Taroma military barracks. So I had to join him.
Why were you so passionate about the area of HIV and AIDS in particular?
The HIV issue at that time in the 90s, people didn't know much about it. And there was a lot of stigma, and the young soldiers, they had risks, risky behavior, and most of them were found HIV positive. They had a medical test that was routinely done in the army, which found some of them positive. Their status was not disclosed in private, but it was disclosed just straight to them. And I found that most of them felt shame or self-stigma, and they were hiding and getting sick. So I kind of did volunteer work in terms of visiting those affected soldiers and communicating to them that, you know, that's not end of life. You can get better, there's treatment, we can care for you. I also tried to influence the policy, because at that time there was no policy. So when soldiers said that they were HIV positive, they kind of did redundant, you know, putting them sideline. So I felt that's not right. We should have a policy that, you know, soldiers can still, you know, work in the military, because they were not sick. They were still healthy, young, fit soldiers, but because they were found positive, you know, but we had no policy, so I had to influence, you know, policy.
You now lead one of the country's largest NGO. We know that you've helped develop a lot of workplace policy around HIV and AIDS. Could you tell us more?
I joined the organization in 2011 as the director. And before that, I worked for the National Health Department for the 5 years. And when I worked in the health department, I worked as a program manager for HIV counseling and testing. It was also a new space that I took up, and I did the country's HIV counseling and testing policy, and also looked into trainings of professionals and involving partners to scale up testing so that we could detect, you know, whoever is HIV positive and get them to get on treatment, because treatment is also prevention. So I worked there, and then I joined Anglicare. So working in Anglicare is an organization formed in 2000 by volunteers to respond to HIV. So moving across there, developing policies and moving up across to Anglicare. Anglicare is an implementing organization, and that time it was more focusing on HIV. It had a project particularly on HIV, so I felt that I would make a difference there, trying to see how I can implement that policy that was also developed in the department. And I worked for about 4 years. Then I started noticing like there were also changes, strategic changes in terms of addressing HIV. It's not, policies had to change. At the same time, funding was also getting, minimal or small. But we had clinics there, we had programs on education, we had programs on trainings, so many other things we were doing, from prevention to counseling to testing to treatment.
You have a vast experience in this particular area of HIV and AIDS. Tell us, what's the biggest challenge you've seen in this particular area?
I think a lot of Papua New Guineans still don't understand, and I think they know, but they're ignorant, I'm not sure. But I feel they lack understanding on HIV, and HIV is already in the country. There are many people who are infected. This issue is, I think, in terms of maybe leadership, or I'm not sure, but it's not resourced well, and it's not funded.
Could you kindly give us an insight to your family? I know you're a mother and a grandmother, and I find you a very strong woman. How do you juggle work and family?
It's a lot of things happening in my life day to day, but I think I've got a lot of support from many different people. And one of them is my husband, particularly my career path. I think we had our challenges, but it was not one time could not allow me to further my education, or it was not, it could not keep me back from going to work. It just allowed me in that space to do what I like to do, and that was the biggest support I got from my husband.
You're an inspirational Papua New Guinean woman. What's your message to women, girls, and men out there?
Think big, have dreams, and be confident, think positive, you can get there. And I think nothing is hard. Women can do anything. Men should not, feel jealous if women is progressing. I think the achievement is a family achievement, and women should give support to women. Men should give support to women in any professional career.
Welcome back to the show. Life is no doubt full of challenges. Some of us struggle to overcome these challenges, while others work through them with confidence. In our next story, we feature two young women living with a disability. They show us how they have looked past their disabilities and have embraced life to the fullest.
Hello, my name is Michelle Wu. I'm from the Makam district in Morbe province. I'm 23 years old. I've lost my sight when I was just a baby. I was told by my mom. Who was being really supportive in my life was my mom and my sister. I didn't go out of the house without her until last year. The very first time I went out without her was during the recent PNG games in Leh in 2014. That was the very first time I flew out without her. Like, it was very emotional. I nearly burst into tears, but then something tells me that no, you have to learn how to be independent. You can't rely on mom anymore for the rest of your life. You have to start relying on your own self. So. Schools, like those schools that I've been through, it's like they have no such braille machines like that, or even textbooks that are not written in braille. So that's when I left school and I just stayed at home. These are some of the challenges. I do feel happy when I sing. It's always part of it's my hobby. I normally do. And I always like singing. I'm part of a band called White Cane Band, and there are times we always go out and sing. Well, it's good for me to be part of them because that's when I come and gain a lot of confidence in this group and like how to socialize with others. I want people to treat me just the same as everyone else. Not like I am something else, just come and pick on me. Just to treat me with respect. What I'm gonna say here is like this: it is never too late for you to come out. You have to come out of your shell and make yourself available so you can be recognized.
Hi, my name is Ruth. I'm from Eastern Highlands Province. I've been living with this disability for the last 10 years now. I acquired this disability in 2007 while I was a first-year student at Divinewood studying rural health. I came down here to Port Moresby for medical services. And then in 2009, I was discharged from the hospital. I went home. There was not much services for people with disabilities, so I was just at home. When I first acquired this disability, and like the doctor told me that he couldn't do much, I lost hope. I was really crushed. I came out of, I came out, I met other people similar to me, so that really built me up. Like every month, every Saturday, once in a month we have our meeting, so that was the time when I look forward to come out of the house. I would say I gained my confidence, this feeling of like lost hope and everything, I got out of it, and then I was selected to represent youth with disability in the 2011 Commonwealth Youth Forum in Perth. But wherever you stop, if there's Kalang services or if there's any NGOs that support disability, I would encourage women to be part of those programs or be part of those groups, so that from there they could, like I said, looking interest on maybe on them disability, planting boom or just like I know, they could come up with something for them.
That's all for this week. But don't forget, you can always like our page on Facebook, that's Women's World, where you can watch and share some of the videos that you've missed out on. Until next week, I'm Geraldine Calabai.